do some lovely stretches and a couple of strengtheners for our backs, for the area surrounding our spines. So if you suffer from low back tightness, discomfort, pain, this will be a really nice class to relieve that, and then also to build the strength in your muscles that you need to avoid feeling that kind of pain or as much pain in the future. You will want one prop for this class. You'll want a blanket, and it doesn't have to be a yoga blanket. You could equally well use a firm, large bath towel or beach towel, just something that you can fold and roll up to make a relatively stable support. If it's a really like fluffy blanket or towel and it just kind of compresses onto itself and doesn't add any height, you're going to want to find something that gives you, when you fold it up, approximately 2 inches or maybe a little bit more. So take a moment to grab that prop, that blanket or towel or whatnot, and then I will meet you back here on your mat, and we're going to start with a little bit of massage for our sacrum and stretch for our psoas muscles. When you have your blanket or your towel, you want it to be about the width of your mat. You can have it folded up pretty small, and then from there you're just going to create a little bit of a roll with it. So you have what approximately looks like a rolled up yoga mat, and that you're going to just set underneath your tailbone as you lie yourself down. So you can lie down first, or you can sit on it and then lie down, your choice. But you want to position that roll at the base of your sacrum, at the base of your tailbone. As you position it at the base of your tailbone, you want to feel the weight of your pelvis going into that roll. So that triangle bone at the base of your spine, where your spine meets your pelvis, that's where you want to have the support underneath. It's not underneath your low back, it's not underneath your butt, it's right there at the joining point. Take a few breaths here and just let your hips be really heavy. Feel the space between the bones of your pelvis, your lowest portion of your belly, just melting, really softening, relaxing. Go ahead and extend your right leg down to the bottom of the mat. You'll let your toes kind of just flop. You'll feel a bit of a stretch in that right side of your low belly. Again, see if you can just relax there. If it's too much, you can always draw the foot back in a little bit. If you like a little more, you could draw your arms up over your head. Another deep breath here. And just switch sides. Sliding the sole of the right foot in and extending the left leg out. Again, just really relax that side of your belly. Let the hips be really heavy. Take another deep breath here, and you could decide to draw the sole of your left foot back in and rest in this kind of supported bridge pose, or you could decide to take the soles of both of your feet out down to the end of the mat, coming into this psoas release a little bit deeper. If there was one side as well that felt a little tighter, you could go back to that side. So you could do the right leg or the left leg, both legs, or no legs. And of course, arms overhead is totally optional. Wherever you are, relax a little bit. A gentle opening torso, and your hips. Another deep breath here. You can leave your left leg extended or your left knee tended. It's totally up to you. You're going to draw the sole of your right foot in, if it's not already there, and hug your right knee in towards your chest. And as you do that, you'll notice, oh, it feels good to have my left leg extended, or I need my left leg in. Feel free to adjust on your roll so it's still right underneath your tailbone, and just hug that right knee to your chest for a few moments. Relax the left side of your belly. And then you can start to move your right knee out to the side, a little bit towards the right armpit. You can hold on to your knee, or you could go into a little bit of a half happy baby, holding your thigh or your calf or your foot or your ankle. Again, you might need to adjust your left leg position in or out to accommodate this. Feel free to move around a little bit. Hello, big man. You're going to draw that right foot a little bit more towards the center line, or right knee a little more towards the center line. We'll go into a very small twist. Extend your right arm for counterbalance. Let your right knee come a little bit over to the left, just till you feel a bit of extra pressure on the left side of your hip, left tailbone area. You can have your knee a little further in or a little further out, kind of experiment and see what feels just right. It's not terribly far up on this roll, so you're not going to be able to get your knee all the way over to the floor on the other side, and that's just fine. You just want to feel the back of your left hip a little bit, getting a massage. Come back to the center, place your right foot on the floor, and draw your left knee in. And you can again decide, what position do you like with your right leg, in or out. You can hug that right knee to the chest. Relax, hug the left knee to the chest, the second knee to the chest. Relax the belly, relax the shoulders. Maybe you start to take that left knee a little out to the side. You can stay there, or you can turn the sole of the foot up if you want. You can move around a little bit, just kind of feeling the inside of your hip crease here. Center line, you're going to take your left knee over to the right. Again, it's not very far. It's just enough to feel an extra little amount of pressure. It's fine if your left hip lifts up so that your right hip can press a little further down. Extend your left arm to help balance you. It's not really about the twisting in the abdominals. It's just the application of a little extra pressure to the outer and back of the right hip. Come back to the center line. Place the sole of the left foot on the floor. Draw the sole of the right foot in if your right leg was quite long. And again, just make sure your roll is right underneath your tailbone. We're going to do a little bit of a pelvic tilt. So as you inhale, just totally relax. As you exhale, you're going to draw your belly button down towards the floor. The bowl of your pelvis is going to tilt towards you, and you're kind of going to lift your tailbone up a little bit. Your butt will contract. As you inhale, you're going to lower your pelvis away from you. So your pelvis is tilting down. Your tailbone is rolling almost over the end of that roll. Your belly is lifting a little bit. Your low back is lifting. Exhale, tilt the pelvis towards you. Inhale, tilt the pelvis away. You can put your hands, as I'm doing, on your hip bone so you can feel that movement. Or you can have your hands by your sides for some balance. Just going to do this a few times, massaging the sacrum, massaging the base of the spine where it hits the pelvis. And it's not a terribly big movement, but because of the roll, you'll feel, I hope, a little bit of action there. massaging the tissues there. Maybe do one more like this. And then go ahead and come to neutral, not rounded, not arched. Press down into the heels of your feet lightly this time. So you're not bringing your low back towards the floor, but you are gently contracting your belly so you feel your belly grow a little bit firmer. Press into the heels of your feet and just lift your hips up. It can be just a ½ inch above that roll, or you can go a little higher if you feel ready. Press down into your big toes. And see if now you can relax your tailbone a little bit. So you kind of drop your hips ever so slightly. You're pressing into your big toes, but you're still a little bit engaged. Your belly button is lifting up. And you're just going to stay here for a few breaths. You're going to think about relaxing your tailbone a little bit, keeping your belly firm, pressing your big toes to the floor. And again, you don't have to be lifted up super high. You can be just an inch above that roll. Inhale here. And then as you exhale, you'll move your roll out of the way and lower your hips down. Take a moment here as you come to the floor to just rest. You're welcome to have your knees point straight up, or to take the feet a little wider, let the knees knock in. Hopefully you feel a pleasant sense of space and openness in your lower back, around the area of your hips. We're just going to build on that for the rest of our class. When you're ready, you can separate the knees, feet a little bit wider than your hips, arms out to the sides, and just start to sway the knees like big windshield wipers from right to left a few times. As you're ready, you can roll your legs all the way over to one side, roll yourself over to that side, lift up with your hands, and make your way around to your table pose. Hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. If you want to use your blanket to cushion your knees, please don't hesitate to do so. Spread your fingers really nice and wide. Feet could be tucked or untucked. See what feels good as you start to move. Inhaling to soften the center of your chest, shoulders go back, belly relaxes. Exhale to tuck the tailbone down, lift the belly up. Let the head come down. Inhale, soften the belly, cow pose. Exhale, draw the belly in, cat pose. And it's just the same thing as those pelvic tilts over the roll, but you're articulating more of your spine now. You're getting a little deeper into this movement. Try one more like this. And then inhale back to the center line. Shrug your shoulders again back. Tuck your right set of toes under. Reach your right foot to the back of the mat. Reach your left arm to the front of the mat. Inhale here. Reach back through your right heel. Reach forward through your left fingertips. Exhale. Twist to your left. Lifting your left arm to the sky. Squeeze your inner thighs together. Keep lifting the back of your right thigh up towards the ceiling. Inhale here. As you exhale, circle that left hand all the way back to the back of the mat and then down underneath your shoulder. Lift your right leg up. Drop your right hip to the same plane as your left hip. Your right toes should be facing the floor. This is your inhale. As you exhale, bring your knee towards your nose. Lift your belly up and in. Inhale, reach behind. Exhale, bring your knee to your nose. You're just going to do 3 more like that. Keep your fingers spread nice and wide. The this next time, you're gonna hold the knee in towards the nose. If you need to put your hands up on props or lift up onto your fingertips as you do that, to see if you can lift that foot up between the hands, go ahead and do so. And then once that foot is between the hands, you lean your hips a little bit forward. Your fingertips could stay on the floor or on props on either side of your front foot. Or you could lift your hands up to your thigh or your hips, or even your arms up towards the ceiling if you feel ready. Lean a little bit forward into your front knee so you feel, again, that deep stretch along the left front side of your torso, like you may have felt in the psoas release lying over that roll on the mat. Inhale here. As you exhale, you might like to create some cactus arms, some wings with your arms drawing the elbows down and lightly back. Inhale, reach up. As you exhale, you're going to fold forward. Plant your fingertips on either side of your front foot. Again, tuck your back toe under if it's not already. Lift your back knee into this slightly more lifted lunge. Lift your left hip to the same plane as your right hip. Think about lifting now the back of your left thigh up to face the ceiling or to reach towards the ceiling. Inhale here. As you exhale, lift your belly away from your thigh, tuck your chin towards your chest, find a little bit of a cat shape in your spine, rounding up. As you inhale, sink your hips down. Maybe you can shrug your shoulders back and lift the center of your chest. If you feel like you don't have enough space, blocks underneath your hands, or hands can come to the inside of your front foot. Inhale, you roll your shoulders back. You lift up, cow pose. Exhale, you round, you lift your belly, you lift your spine, you come chin to chest, cat pose. Try one more set. From here, you're going to inhale back to a non-rounded, a neutral spine, not rounded, not arched. Hands frame your front foot. You're going to lift your hips up a little bit, press into your left toes, and see if you can step back to downward facing dog. Of course, you can always come back to your table pose. In your downward facing dog, you're going to pedal your feet a few times, or sway your hips. If you choose to go back to table, you can continue your cat-cow, or draw some circles with your hips. Moving things out a little bit. Inhale where you are, and then as you exhale, make your way to table pose. From there, spread your fingers nice and wide. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, lift your belly, cat pose. Inhale, come back to a neutral spine. As you exhale, tuck your left set of toes under, reach your left foot back, reach your right arm forward. Inhale, reach really far forward through the right fingertips, really far back through that left heel. The left thigh is coming towards the sky. Exhale, find that twist. Shoulders roll back, inner thighs squeeze together. Inhale here. As you exhale, you circle that arm all the way down and back underneath the shoulder. Now lifting the left leg behind you as you inhale. Drop the left hip to the same plane as the right hip. The toes should be facing the floor. You want the front of your thigh, the heads of your quadriceps to be facing down towards the floor. Inhale here. Exhale, curl that knee in towards your nose. Inhale, reach behind. Exhale, curl towards your nose. 3 more at your own pace. Hug the knee in towards your chest. Really lift the belly up and in. If you need to lift up onto blocks or rock to one side to get there, go ahead. Left foot steps forward. You take the hips a little bit forward. Perhaps you could stay here on your fingertips. On blocks, you could come hands to thigh. You could bring your arms, if you're ready, all the way up to the sky. And again, you just want to feel that nice stretch at the front of the right thigh, right hip, right belly. Inhale here. If you have your arms up and you want to add those cactus arms, exhale, bring the elbows down and back. Inhale, lift the arms up, or just lift the gaze a little bit. Exhale to come forward. Plant your fingertips to frame your front foot. Tuck your back toe under, lift your back knee. Neutral spine to start with. The right hip is lifting up. The back of the right thigh is now coming towards the ceiling. So that right thigh is really active. Inhale here. Shrug the shoulders back. As you exhale, you lift up into that little bit of a cat shape. It's okay if your hips lift up a little bit too. As you inhale, the hips sink down a little bit. The shoulders roll back. Blocks are really handy here. Or coming to the inside of your front foot. You have 2 more sets. Exhaling to lift everything up. Inhaling to sink it down. It's that same motion in the spine. Just with a little more work in the hips here as we come into this lunge. Lift back to your neutral spine. Plant your hands underneath your shoulders. Lift your hips a little bit and see if you can step back to your downward dog. Of course, if you prefer, you go to table pose, dropping your knees to the floor. Take a few moments and just move in any way that feels necessary, that feels good. When you're ready, from your table or your dog, you're going to slide yourself forward to your plank position. Shoulders are over the wrists. Knees could be up or down. Take a deep breath here. Lift your belly button towards your spine. So you're lifting your lower back up towards the ceiling. Shrug your shoulders back. Lift the space between your shoulder blades. So right back here, the back of your heart. I actually have a perfect shirt today. That circular area that's open on my shirt is exactly the area you want to be lifting up towards the ceiling. Your belly is lifting up. Heart is lifting up. Take a deep breath in, and then as you breathe out, you can do a full push-up, or you can drop the knees and lower slowly all the way to the floor. Untuck your toes. Keep your elbows tucked in. Roll them back. Your hands are right about underneath your shoulders. You're going to lift the center of your chest. Just a little baby cobra, or you can come a little higher if you feel ready. Make sure there's no discomfort in your lower back. Take a deep breath. And then go ahead and release. Press down into your fingertips. Lift your hips up and back to child's pose. Forehead could come to the floor if you feel ready. Take a few deep breaths here. Let your hips be heavy towards your heels. Feel the gentle stretch in your spine. You're ready. You're going to inhale back towards a table pose so that you can grab your roll. If you unrolled your roll to use under your knees, you're just going to roll your roll back up like we had it at the beginning of class. And you're going to set that at the front of your mat. And you're going to lie down so that that roll is right on your rib cage. So the bottom of the roll is maybe not completely the base of your rib cage, but almost the base of your rib cage. So that when you are lying here, on your roll, you can place your elbows in front of it. So it's just giving you this little bit of support in your Sphinx pose. And if you need to, you can have your elbows a little further back or a little further forward than your shoulders, but about underneath your shoulders is where you want to be. And that little bit of support, press down into the palms of your hands. Lift the center of your chest, roll your shoulders back. Press the tops of your feet into the floor, specifically the pinky toe, so the outer edge of your foot. And as you press the pinky toe side of the foot into the ground, what happens is we create space here in the lower back. That's why we press the feet down, so that there is more relaxation in the lower back, so that as you lift the upper back and shoulders, there's no crunchy, gross sensations in the lower back. If they are, you lower yourself down, you move your elbows a little bit. Press the palms of the hands down, press the tops of the feet down, outer edges, pinky toe edges of the feet are actively working towards the mat. If they don't touch, it's totally fine. They're just working in that direction until you feel that softening around the sacrum, around the triangle bone at the base of your spine. Take another breath here. You're actively lifting your belly button away from the floor. And then you're going to exhale, let it all go. Bring your hands down. You can place them on top of the roll to go back to child's pose. You can leave them on the roll, maybe bringing the knees a little wider, getting a nice shoulder stretch with the hands lightly elevated as you drop the forehead to the floor. And also take that roll away. As you're ready, you're going to lift yourself back up. Move your roll to the side. Come to your table pose. Inhale, find a cow. Exhale, find a cat. Inhale, come to neutral. As you exhale, tuck both sets of toes under. Rock your weight back, maybe coming to downward facing dog. Take a nice deep breath there, lifting your hips up and back to the place where the wall and the ceiling meet behind you. And then gently walk your feet towards your hands, coming up to the front of your mat to dangle. And when you dangle, I want your knees to be bent. I don't care if the the world's most flexible person and you can, touch your elbows to the floor while folded forward with straight legs. Keep your knees bent so that you are draping your upper body over your lower body. It should be this kind of hanging forward, softening, melting into this shape. Let your chin come towards your chest. If you like even a little more traction, you can take your arms into the opposite elbow creases. A little more weight to bring it forward. Just lengthening the spine. Release your arms. If you lace them up, you're going to find halfway lift. You could leave your hands on the floor, bring them up to your legs, maybe straighten the legs a little bit if you so choose. Exhale, soften your knees, find that forward fold. And as you inhale, slow ragdoll, one vertebrae at a time. You roll yourself up to the ceiling. Feel free to walk your hands on your legs for support. When you reach that standing position, roll your shoulders back. Turn your palms forward. Take a deep breath. As you inhale, bring your arms over your head. As you exhale, fold. Inhale, find that halfway lift position. As you exhale, you're going to fold forward, plant your hands. Knees might need to bend quite deeply. Step your right foot to the back of the mat, and then your left foot to the back of the mat, downward dog. Or if you prefer, table pose. Inhale, come forward to your plank. Again, we'll hold here for a few breaths. Lift your lower belly up. Lift the space between your shoulder blades up. Shrug your shoulders back. You should feel really quite strong and stable here. Like all of the muscles from your kneecaps to your shoulders are engaged. They're pulling in towards the central line, and that applies whether you are using your toes or your knees on the floor. Everything is pulling towards the center line. You have a light squeeze together of your inner thighs here. Take another deep breath. Inhale where you are, and then as you exhale, you lower yourself all the way down to the floor. From here, we're going to work on the shoulders a little bit first. Again, press the tops of your feet into the mat, pinky toe sides. So you're keeping the low back a little bit relaxed. I think I'm going to run out of space, so I'm going to scoot myself a little bit back here. But as you inhale, you want to reach your arms out like a big Y in front of you. Your forehead could be on the floor lightly, or just hovering right above it, excuse me. Inhale here. As you exhale, pull your elbows down and back. Start to lift the center of your chest. Keep pressing your feet down. W shape with your arms. Inhale Y. I think that's the way I'm doing it today. Exhale W. And if you're going the other direction with your breath, it's not a big deal. I just arbitrarily picked one. Y. As you inhale, lower the forehead down, reach the arms up. W. As you exhale, keep pressing the tops of your feet down. If you feel discomfort in your lower back, back off. Don't come as high. Just do the arm motion. Don't lift the torso, or work on pressing the tops of the feet more firmly into the mat. Let's try one more. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Press back to your child's pose. Feel a little bit of length in your spine. Take a nice deep breath here. And then inhale, come forward to table. If you move yourself around to accommodate that YW. Come back to the center of your mat, tuck your toes under. Inhale, find your cow pose. Exhale, lift up through your cat pose. You could stay in your table, of course, lift your knees and come to your downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your right leg behind you. Exhale, draw your right knee towards your nose. Could be the same as in table, or you could be pulling your shoulders over your wrist doing this in plank. Step your right foot to the inside of your right hand, back into that lunge position. Lift your left hip up, squeeze your thighs together. Reach the crown of your head forward as you inhale, find that kind of cow shape in your spine. And then as you exhale, round up, find that cat shape in your lunge. Inhaling, little cow. Exhaling, little cat. And the front knee stays bent on this one. The positioning of the legs, other than the lifting and the lowering of the hips, doesn't really change. Inhale, come back to neutral. As you exhale, the left plant plants down and you twist to your right. You bring your right hand to your hip. You can bring your right arm up to the ceiling, shrug your shoulders back, keep lifting your back thigh towards the sky. The back of your hamstrings is lifting up. Shrug your shoulders back. Inhale here. As you exhale, fold back towards the floor. You're going to look back at your back foot, and you're going to step it slightly forward and slightly to the left, so maybe an inch or two in each direction. Rotate your left heel to the floor for warrior 1 feet, and then make your way up to standing. Square your hips. Both of your hip bones are facing forward. Adjust the angle of your back foot so that that feels comfortable in your knees, and then when you're ready, reach your arms up. Take a deep breath in here. As you breathe out, you might take those cactus arms, relaxing the shoulder. Inhale, reach everything up. Exhale, potential cactus arms. You can also just be holding this for a few breaths. One more here, moving the arms, if you choose to. As you inhale, lift everything up, maybe even looking towards the ceiling. Imagine that you're drawing your upper body out of your lower body, trying to lift it away. And then as you exhale, pull your belly towards your spine, fold forward, sweep your arms behind you. Hold here for a few breaths. Focus on lifting your belly button up and feeling that sensation of plank. So the belly button is lifting up, that means the low back is lifting up. The space between your shoulder blades is lifting up. Your shoulders themselves are lifting back and down. Down towards your heel, so basically towards the back of the mat. They're not like drooping. Take another deep breath here. Keep lifting your belly. And then as you inhale, straighten back up. As you exhale, flow forward. As you inhale, lift. One more like that. And then this time as you exhale, draw your right knee a little straighter. Draw your hands in front of your heart as you fold the spine parallel to the earth. Pyramid pose. Now your right knee may or may not be perfectly straight. It's just going a little straighter than your warrior. Your right hip crease is coming to the back of the room. You can keep your hands at your heart, continuing to lift your belly button up and in. And you want to imagine that you're drawing the crown of your head forward. So you're again drawing your upper body away from your lower body. A little bit more would be to reach your arms out behind you like airplane. A little bit more would be to reach your arms in front of you, really challenging the strength of your back muscles. A little bit more gentle would be to place your hands on your thigh. See what feels just right for another couple breaths. Keep lifting the belly button. The muscles of your abdominal area are supporting the muscles of your back. As you inhale, you're going to bend that right knee. You're going to sweep your arms all the way up. And then as you exhale, this is the hard part, you're going to fold forward, fingertips to the floor, far in front of your right foot. Lift your left heel, maybe step your back foot in a few times, and see if you can lift your left foot coming to warrior 3. And what I want you to focus on today is not the height of your back leg. That's totally unimportant. What I want you to think about is drawing your belly button up and then lengthening your torso. So instead of having the crunch shape in your warrior 3, you have this really tall, elongated shape, so your belly feels spacious. So instead of doing this, I'd prefer that you have your foot lower and you can reach further forward so that the sides of your waist are as uncreased as possible in this position. Maybe you even float your hands and you take a deep breath. And then you're going to place your fingertips down. Step your left foot far back. Plant your hands under your shoulders. Step your right foot back next to your left foot. You're in downward facing dog, or you can drop your knees to table. As you inhale, you come to your plank. Lift your belly button. Lift the space between your shoulder blades. A little squeeze together of your inner thighs. Find all that strength in the muscles of your back, in the muscles of your core, of your shoulders, of your thighs. Everything is working. And then on your exhale, you lower slowly all the way to the floor. We're going to go a little bit backwards, I guess, or the opposite. We're going to now lift and lower our legs instead of our arms. So you can create a little cushion for your head with your hands. You can let your forehead rest all the way to the floor, your preference. From here, relax your shoulders, relax your upper body. On your inhale, you're going to lift your right leg up. Press the top of your left foot into the mat. On your exhale, lower your right leg down. Inhale, lift your left leg up. Press the top of your right foot down. Exhale, lower the left leg down. Inhale, see if you can lift both of your legs up. Exhale, lower them down. Inhale, lift both of your legs up. Maybe you can make them a little bit wider. Exhale, lower the legs down, bring them back together. Lift them up exactly as they are, so they could be touching or a little bit separated. Exhale, lower down. Maybe you can go a little bit wider, lift both of your legs as you inhale. Exhale, they come a little bit back together as you bring them down. Just the left leg lifts. Inhale, press the top of the right foot down. Exhale to release. Press the top of the left foot down, lift the right leg, inhale. Exhale to release. Floating both legs one more time if you can. Inhale, lift, 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 lift. Maybe you can start to lift your upper body. Maybe you even extend your arms into this big wide. You can be kind of wide here, like a flying saucer. Lift your belly button away from the floor as you inhale. Exhale to release, hands under the shoulders, press back. Child's pose. Knees could be again a little wide if you like. Take a deep breath. Feel your spine relax. And as you inhale, come back to your table or your downward facing dog. I'm going to take that little series to the other side. So when you're ready from here, you'll float your left foot to the sky. Draw your left knee towards your chest, either in your table or your dog to your plank. Set your left foot on the inside of your left hand. Lift your right thigh up. Shrug your shoulders back. You're finding this strength in your lunge where you are able to move your hips a little bit up and down and to articulate your spine into that cow-cat shape. As you inhale, you can soften your hips down. You can roll your shoulders back. You can lift and look a little forward. As you exhale, you lift everything up. You lift your belly towards your spine. Cat. Just two more like that. It's also a really nice workout as you lift and lower your hips. For your hip socket on the front leg, gives it a good bit of massage and strength work. Here you're going to come back to your neutral spine. You're going to plant your right hand down. Shrug your shoulders back. Keep lifting your right thigh. Twist on your exhale to your left. Shrug your shoulders back. Squeeze your inner thighs a little bit together. Inhale here. As you exhale, fold towards the floor. Take a look back at that back foot. You want to step it a little bit in and a little bit out to the right, and then place the right heel on the floor. When you have that, you lift all the way up to standing. Shrug your shoulders back. Square your hip points. Oh, you've been outside. Your fur is all damp. Making sure to adjust that back foot if you need to so that your hip points can face forward. 45 degrees with that back foot is just a median point. Inhale here. As you exhale, maybe you choose to soften the elbows and lower them down. Inhale to lift up. Exhale, shrug your shoulders down and back. Maybe one more like that. Reach your arms up as you breathe in, going into what I call lightning warrior. So you draw your belly button in first, so you feel this firmness in your core, and then you fold forward, taking your arms back behind you. Shrug your left hip crease back, and your goal is to keep your belly as far from your thigh as possible, even if they're touching. They are resisting each other. Your belly is lifting up so that your low back feels strong and supported. The space between your shoulders is lifting up. Your actual shoulder blades are lifting up and then back. And you're working to stay here. You'll also, of course, really feel your left hip, your left thigh working as you try this. Spend a few breaths. Keep the upper body as light as possible. So the upper body, the muscles of your back, of your abdominal region, of your shoulders are supporting themselves. They're not slumping onto the lower body, which for many of us is a bit stronger, a bit more stable than our upper body muscles. When you're ready, you're going to press firmly down into your left heel, and you're going to sweep yourself all the way up. And then as you exhale, you're going to fold forward again. Keep that same integrity in your core. Inhale to lift. Exhale to float. One more like that. This time you inhale, you lift up just as usual. And then as you exhale, you straighten your left leg a little bit and you fold with your hands at your heart. Keep drawing that left hip crease back. Keep thinking about and keep thinking, about that integrity in your core, lifting your belly. And maybe that's enough. You really feel the muscles in your back, the muscles in your belly working. You work to lift your shoulders. You can stay there. More is to bring your arms behind you, airplane wings, or even in front of you. Big V. A little less, a little more relaxed as to do hands to thigh to help support. If you experience a lot of tiredness or pain in your lower back at all, please go for a supported option. Help your muscles to get to that point where they can hold themselves up. Try another deep breath. And then bending into the left knee. Inhale, scoop everything back up. Working for that warrior three, already be lengthening your belly up and out of your hips. It's as if you're trying to separate your upper body and your lower body into two separate pieces. Inhale here. And then exhale, dive forward. Keep the belly engaged. Maybe you can even lift the leg in one smooth motion. Fingertips can come to the floor at any point. I'd rather you have your fingers on the floor and you focus on that extension in your spine than you're floating kind of like this. You want, again, that uncrunched belly. It's like your belly is as long as when you're in the cat shape. Holding for a few breaths. You'll really feel, or at least I hope you really feel, I really feel mine, your outer left hip from holding the warrior and the pyramid pose all in that same position. Keep lengthening. Try for another breath. And then step that right foot far back behind. Plant the hands down and step back. Downward facing dog or table pose. Inhale, forward plank. No hold this time. You just get to lower yourself gently to the floor. Untuck your toes. Simple cobra pose. Hug the elbows in. Lift the center of the chest. Keep pressing the tops of the feet down. And go slow. Take your time. We're going to take a few breaths here. And feel, where do you start to meet resistance in this lower portion, the lumbar portion of your spine? That's the point where you kind of want to stop. Press your feet down. If there's no resistance at that point, then you can lift a little higher. But if you're just working in resistance to your lower back, all you're doing here is basically taking these nice vertebrae that we've just worked to create space between, and you're just squishing them together and compressing them. Compression is not a bad thing, but it's like the difference between ironing compression. Everything is smoothed out, the wrinkles are nice and relaxed, and squishing a wet towel into a ball and throwing it in a corner. You want to be ironing. You want to be creating compression that is beneficial rather than compression that's going to lead to a smelly, moldy spine. Kind of yucky spine. When you're ready, lower yourself down and push yourself back to child's pose. We're going to take a few breaths here. And you're going to walk your fingertips in towards you. Bring yourself to seated. As you come to seated, place the soles of your feet on the floor. We're going to work into those abdominal muscles to support the spine a little bit more. You're going to lift the center of your chest. Almost as if you were starting to find your cobra pose. You want to lift your chest and you want your tailbone to relax a little bit. You can press into the bottoms of your feet in this one. So you have this lovely tall posture. Your shoulders should be able to relax here. You might stay simply focusing there today. Feeling your abdominal wall. I like to think of this as I'm knitting the muscles of my abdominals and just drawing them all together. Maybe you lean a little back and you feel a little more intensely your abdominals and you stay there. Maybe you extend your arms and you stay here. If you feel quite frisky, you could work to float your feet coming into a Navasana, boat pose. If you feel extra frisky, you could extend your legs. And what I want you to think about today is, again, not crunching. You don't want to be held in here. You want everything to be long and smooth. It's like that ironing idea. You're smoothing out the wrinkles. Everything is getting elongated and smoothed out. It's a lot harder than it sounds. I hope you're shaking right now. If you're not, maybe add on a little bit. If you're shaking a lot or you start to feel pain or discomfort again in your lower back off a step. We'll hold for maybe 3 more breaths. see how it goes. Any variation or combination of variations that works. Inhale, and as you exhale, release. Maybe soles of the feet can come together. Feel free to prop underneath your knees and fold forward. Let that lower back really relax. Feel free to move around a little bit here. Once you're ready, slowly roll yourself up. I'm going to make our way into a pigeon. And because we're facing forward, I'm going to start with a seated pigeon, and then I'll show you a reclined pigeon, and then I'll show you a facing forward pigeon. If you have a favorite variation, feel free to go there whenever you're ready. If you want to try the seated pigeon, you're going to come back to kind of that proto-boat pose. You're going to cross your right ankle over the top of your left knee. You bring your hands for support behind you. Again, keep lifting the center of your chest, and you can draw your left foot in or out to customize the amount of stretch in your outer right hip. If you like a little more gentle, you could rock onto your back and do the same thing on the floor. Right ankle over left knee. Maybe you draw the left knee in towards you to make this a little bit deeper. If you want to do a forward-facing variation, you have no troubles with your knees today, you might come forward, your right knee behind your right wrist, your left leg straight back behind you, lay your left thigh to the floor. You can fold forward over this front leg. And of course, you can do this straight forward, or you can sit on the outside of the right hip and draw the left knee in for pinwheel-shaped pigeon. Either of those forward-facing variations would be nice today. What I want for you is to feel this area, your outer buttock, on the right side. You may, of course, also feel your lower back. Depending on your variation, you might feel the front of your left leg. If you're in a forward folding variation, go just as far forward as you need to. If you're in a seated variation, you draw your knee just as close to your chest as you need to feel those sensations. We'll take a couple more breaths. Then you're going to release from this pose. If you are in a seated or reclined variation, you are simply going to come back to seated and extend your legs straight in front of you. So you can rock yourself to one side if you're on your back, or if you're just seated, you can just extend your legs. If you are folded forward, you might decide to join me in this fun little transition. You lift yourself up. If you're not already sitting on the outside of your right hip, you're going to sit there. You're going to draw your left leg, your back leg in and around, and maybe to the outside of your right leg, coming into Ardha Matsyendrasana, coming into a twist. And of course, the left leg could extend to the bottom of the mat if that's more comfortable for your hips. If you came from that seated variation, it's the left foot to the outside of the right leg, potentially the right foot towards the left butt cheek. When you have your positioning, lift your arms up as you breathe in. As you breathe out, you're twisting to your left. You can hug your left knee, you can lace your arm to the outside of your left knee. Just find a pleasant sensation in your hips, your back, and your shoulders. As you inhale, come back to the center line. You're going to uncross your legs. Seated variation would now be right ankle over the top of the left knee. Same thing if you want to rock onto your back. Maybe draw your knee in. If you want to go forward facing, the left knee folds and the left knee is near the left wrist. The right thigh is lying on the floor, folding forward there. Or sitting on the outer ledge of the left hip, right knee draws in, your legs make that pinwheel style shape, and you fold forward from there. Again, focus on the sensation in your outer left hip. Should feel stretchy and deep. It's not always the most pleasant sensation. It's more of the sensation at least for, that deep tissue massage, it's a little uncomfortable, but at the end it's going to feel so fantastic. Everything is kind of just being massaged out. You're drawing those muscles a little longer, and you're releasing all of the tension, all of the buildup. I'll take a couple more breaths here. If you are seated or lying on your back, again, you can make your way to sitting with the legs extended in front of you for the other side. If you're folded forward, you can try that transition again. You lift your body up a little bit. If you're not already there, you sit on the outside edge of your left hip, you draw your right leg around, and maybe all the way to the outside of the left knee. If you get there and your right butt cheek is lifted up, or you feel just a lot of torque and discomfort, extend your bottom leg. If you came from legs in front of you, it's right foot to the outside of the left knee, potentially left foot to right butt cheek. Lift your arms up, inhale. As you exhale, find your twist. Shoulders soften here a little bit. And this is just meant to feel good. It doesn't matter what shape you are in, legs folded or unfolded. Just feel some nice stretch. This is not that deep tissue. This is just like a hot tub, you sink in. It feels really, really good. As you inhale, come back to the center line. You're going to unwind your legs and extend them in front of you. Do one more forward fold. If you would like to sit up a little higher, your low back is on the tighter side, your hamstrings are on the tighter side. You might sit up, you can sit onto your roll, or you can fold your blanket into any height and sit up on top of it. Find that little bit of back bendiness. So you lift the center of your chest, your tailbone is kind of coming almost through a cow spine. So it's just lifting a little bit. Your shoulders are back, lift your arms up, inhale. And then as you exhale, keep all this length, all this space at the front of your body as you fold forward, reaching towards your toes. You may or may not meet them. It's completely fine if your hands end up on your thighs and you're only a few inches forward. Totally fine if your hands are on your feet or down below your feet as you come to this forward fold. Remember that it is sometimes necessary to soften the knees here, just like you would do in standing, so that when you fold, you feel a pleasant stretch here in your lower back, not a kind of screechy stretch. This should feel, again, maybe a little bit more intense, more in that deep tissue massage, but not painful in any way. Maybe slightly uncomfortable. A little deep. Take a few more breaths if you can. This one is not easy. You're stretching all of the muscles that we just worked so hard on. Slowly draw your hands back in on an inhale. On an exhale, roll your shoulders away from your ears. If you're sitting up on your blanket, move it out to the side. Again, you're going to create that roll with your blanket. And just set that roll over to one side here, right next to your body. And then bring yourself all the way down to the floor. Lying yourself down. Draw the soles of your feet in. We're going to take one more bridge pose here. You could place your triceps, the backs of your arms on the mat, really nice and close to your torso. Fingertips pointing to the sky, palms facing one another. Use the back of your arms to help support you in this bridge pose. As you inhale, relax. As you exhale, draw your belly button towards the floor. It's like you're doing that pelvic tilt. The bowl of the pelvis is coming towards you. The belly button is coming towards the floor. Press into your heels. Lift your hips. Press into the backs of your arms. Just like the first time, press into your big toes and see if now that you're up, you can soften your butt a little bit. If you feel comfortable touching your butt, we're not really in public now, so no one, maybe your family members can see you. You want your glute muscles to just relax a little bit. So there's a little softness there instead of a lot of firm holding. And you'll notice your hips drop down a little bit as you do that. And then you have to re-engage your belly button and lift up. Keep pressing into the backs of the arms. Keep pressing into your big toe. Let's try for about 3 more breaths. Big toes pressing. Tailbone a little relaxed. Belly a lot engaged. Inhale where you are. And on your exhale, float your hips back to the mat. Relax again for a few breaths in neutral. If from there you need to adjust, maybe draw your knees into the chest or go to a happy baby, please do. And of course, if there's any other pose or shape that your body would like, you can always add that in. When you're ready, you're going to make your way towards Shavasana. And I encourage you in your Shavasana to use that roll that you created underneath your knees today to create a little bit of softness. You can have your knees just kind of resting up, or you can do a little bit of a Baddha Konasana, your knees a little bit out to the side, the soles of your feet together if you want. I tend to like this kind of frog shape where my knees are slightly to the side and the soles of the feet face one another but are floppy. You can do that as well. The most important thing is that you find a shape that's quite comfortable for your back. If lying on your back is not that place, feel free to lie on your side or come to seated. Add any other prop or accessory that your body might need. And close your eyes. Relax your jaw. Soften your shoulders. Let go of your belly. Release your hips. And let your arms and your legs grow pleasantly heavy. Allowing your body this time to rest, to reset, to assimilate the work that we did today. A few extra minutes in your day. I encourage you to stay here. Relax and 2, 5, 10 minutes. You have that luxury. Well, it's time to return. Take a deep breath in. A big deep sigh out. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. You might like to draw the soles of your feet in. You could place them on your roll or on the floor and wiggle side to side. Wiggle the knees side to side, that is. You could draw the knees into the chest and rock a little bit, just releasing the lower back. Eventually making your way all the way over to one side to rest for a few breaths. Pressing yourself up to a comfortable seat. Feel free to sit on your prop if you would like to. Drawing your hands in front of your heart, we'll close with our deep breath together. In through the nose, out through the mouth. On 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you for sharing your practice and your time. Namaste.